What's going on, guys? TKD123 back video, and today we're going to talk about another Lawbreakers guide. Of course, you guys know I'm basically obsessed with Lawbreakers. It's been a little bit, on the weekend, just because we have Destiny 2 right now and everything, and there's, all that hoopla and everything. So I'm trying to balance the two games in a nice, way to make sure we get content on both those games and everything stuff like that. But today we're going to discuss the Lawbreakers guide for the Juggernaut class. Now, look, okay, so in the beta, I played this Jug class a pretty substantial amount. I wouldn't say it wasn't the craziest amount like the Enforcer and stuff like that, but overall, really did like the Juggernaut class, at least in the beta. And going into the full game and just having a couple of hours with this game and everything, and a couple hours with this character and everything, you can quickly see that I feel that this Jug class has some issues with it. I feel like this class definitely needs some work on it. But let's just jump into the weapons of this class. Starting off here on your primary, you have this shotgun called the Instigator, right? And it's basically described as being a high damage pump action shotgun. And they use the term high damage. I don't understand why it's called high damage, right? And for the majority of the time, I really didn't find this shotgun to feel like a high damage pump shotgun. It's very, very weird. This whole class is extremely weird to me, especially with me enjoying it so much in the beta, then going into the full game release, and just this Jug class is definitely, there's something wrong with it, right? It's not what you would imagine a Jug class to be, right? And so basically, you have your pump action shotgun, and that is mainly your bread and butter in this class. It definitely is the one that you'll be using the most, obviously. And for the most part, I think the biggest issue with this shotgun, right, and amongst the other issues of this class, is that this shotgun does really, really good, but only at a super, super close range, right? The minute you get long range with the class is the minute you're gonna have issues with this class, right? Like the minute you have someone that's like an Enforcer, or that is just a role that can really do a lot of damage over range, right? You don't have range as a Jug class at all, right? You don't have you can't deal damage for longer ranges of distances and everything. So with this class, especially with the shotgun, it's definitely not gonna be to your benefit to do it long range, obviously, because it's a shotgun. But even at the medium range, there were times where I just wasn't getting kills that effectively, which I think I would have if there was a Jug class like any other game. And it's just the way that this Jug class is built. This shotgun definitely does not favor medium range. Next up, let's just go to the secondary weapon. And this one, a weapon, I don't know if you can even call it a weapon, but this is called the Impale, and it is basically a bayonet attached to the Instigator, right? So you can use, I believe it's L2 on the PS4 or whatever key binding that is on the PC and everything. But with the Impale, you basically launch a kind of like a nice little jab, and you use the bayonet on the end of your gun, which is the Impale, to close quarters, kind of kill people off if you didn't get them with the first few shots of your Instigator and everything. So this one I found super ineffective. It was very rare I got kills with this thing. It was very wonky and everything, and it didn't really even feel like a viable option, right? Like I feel like it would have been just a viable option if we had like a secondary that could do some long range damage or something like that, what I'm saying? Just because with this Impale, and plus with the combination of having this bayonet, right, with a short range shotgun already, this Impale is not gonna kill people long range. I feel like the ultimate detriment to the Jug class is that, yeah, okay, I understand that the overall type of role that a Juggernaut plays in game, right, it's supposed to be kind of that really heavily armored, just badass that comes in and just wipes and whatnot, right? But here in this Jug class, you don't do that. Like, it just doesn't happen with this Jug class, at least from my gameplay and time with the thing and everything and stuff like that. But there are ways that it does do it. It's just when in terms of just weapons, it definitely does not do that. We have the first ability here, which is called Charge, which of course is just going to be the sprint. So the sprint's actually really, really good with Juggernaut class. Like, you actually move a lot faster than you think you would with the sprint ability. It definitely is a very, very effective ability. I do like it a lot and everything. And then, along with that, even when you're charged, you even jump higher, right? So you kind of propel yourself a little bit, way, way, way more higher than if you would just regular jump without the sprint button being activated. So definitely do feel like the charge ability is a very viable option. It's a lot like the Enforcers, and by a lot, I mean like basically the same thing, except the Enforcer doesn't have the high jump, but as opposed to the Juggernaut that that does happen. So definitely do feel like the charge ability is a great thing overall. It really does have a nice balance to where, you know, even though you are a Jug and you're meant to be kind of slow and everything, the, you know, charge ability really does let you have that extra boost whenever you need it. Like whenever you need to just go around the corner, or what I use it mainly for was to go and get health and everything. Definitely did feel like the charge was definitely something that was a very, very good thing to have, at least on the Juggernaut class and everything. Next up here, and this is pretty much the staple of the Jug class, and what gets, and really, you know, what gets a lot of people, you know, really mad with this class, and that is the Hollow Deflector. This is described as being a temporary shield wall, deters enemy movement, and deflects projectiles. So basically what this does is this is essentially like, you know, May's ice wall from Overwatch, right? This is essentially what it is here. So it's this big holographic shield that, you know, just comes up, and, you know, if you put it in a doorway, no enemies are going through that doorway. No enemies can shoot through that doorway. It is just a wall that comes up, and it is what it is, and it just stays there, right? So this is definitely very useful for objective modes, obviously, and very, very good for, you know, those modes where it requires you to capture a point, or, you know, anything like that. Definitely is a very, very good thing to have there. And also it's nice, you know, just because if you want to plan out how you're going to, you know, kill an enemy in a short close quarters combat, you know, type of scenario, how would you do that, right? And so I feel like this wall definitely does buy you some time, and it, you know, lets you kind of post up in a corner, or post up in a way where you can be effective and more effective in that gunfight, as opposed to just being out in the bear and hoping that, you know, your instigator does the damage that it needs to do. And most times it doesn't, but, you know, it really does give you kind of a little chance to really plan out your engagements with enemy players. And then lastly here we have the super, which I don't even know why you would call it a super, really. This is such an odd thing, but it's called the Armor Protocol, right? So it's described as being a armored plates, increase protection, and rate of fire. Now this is by far, you know, the worst super that I have played with, at least in Lawbreakers, right? Like this, I don't understand the point of this. And what's the weirdest thing about this too is that you get it so quickly. Like you will literally use it, and I swear to God, it is so weird. It's like, you know, within 30 seconds, within legit 15 seconds, you already get another Armor Protocol. And it's you know, so weird, because even when you use it, I feel no difference. Like I'm supposed to get, you know, extra protection and extra rate of fire, I guess, on my instigator, but none of those effects, you know, seem to really happen to me. At least I didn't even notice it until, you know, I was playing my first round just blind, right? Like I just played my first round of the Juggernaut class blind without knowing, you know, the full intricacies of the actual role and everything, and I just did it. And then afterwards, I went after the game and I was looking at the super. I'm like, you know, why isn't this super effective and everything? But and it's supposed to give you, you know, extra protection and rate of fire, but I totally did not even notice those things. I didn't even realize that those effects were being had on me when I was using the actual super. And overall, I feel that this super is such a waste, in my opinion. Like I just don't understand this whole thing. And the overall, speaking from the class as a whole, you know, just to kind of go into my final thoughts here, this class is heavily flawed, right? And there's a lot of reasons why you can say it. I think mainly the biggest two reasons for me are that because there is no way to deal damage with this class from a long distance. I feel that that's a heavy issue. I feel like it definitely puts this class at a very, very disadvantage, because you have every other role. Oh, no, okay, well, not every other role, but a lot of the other roles, you know, they can deal damage from you from way afar, and they are so far that you know, they are out of your effective range to deal damage to them. And so there it becomes an automatic, you know, just step down from every other player, because you can't even deal damage that well, you know, from afar. And the other thing I feel, you know, is just that like this class is such a bad Jug when it's supposed to be a Juggernaut role. Like I don't feel like a Juggernaut rolling into, you know, a capture point or rolling into a blitzball location. I don't feel like as powerful as I should be. And, you know, even with this fake facade of the Armor Protocol, you know, when I put that on, I think that would be a badass. I'm about to wipe out everyone else in this whole entire room. You know, it still doesn't happen for me. Like it doesn't, you know, I don't know if like I'm crazy. I don't know if maybe my game time was just weird, but overall I found the Jug class to be super ineffective. Definitely feel like it is one worth skipping if you're looking at the roles. I would definitely advise against it. I did not enjoy it, you know, that well, really. And on that note, if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and down below. I appreciate all the feedback you give me. Thanks for watching, and as always, I got you.